I'm Nathan Fast. I directed HB.
HB.
Is this mic working? It wasn't working before.
Oh, is it working? Yep.
Is it working?
Just yell right into it.
All right. My name is Terry Sherbach. I'm the associate producer of both HB and the Horizon Project. Both were produced by the Real Shorts Film Festival up in Grand Prairie, and I'm the director.
I'm Mona Fani, and I directed Finding Faith.
I'm Mark Templeton, and I'm here to support Mona. I taught her film and media studies at high school.
I'm Rory Mells. I directed Sophia.
Count Belseth. I helped produce Sophia as well.
All right. Well, why don't we start at this end here, since you're closest? I've got to say, I quite enjoyed that. I found that you managed to capture a timeless comedy. That's something that it's hard to do these days. I worked on some television shows where we're trying to capture like sketch comedy, and you seem to tapped into something that would be a timeless comedy more than just something that would be just centered on some sort of current event. So, who are your inspirations?
Well, definitely, because this was, practically a silent film. So, of course, Chaplin and Buster Keaton and, slapstick comedians of the time. So, but mainly Chaplin. So, they're my inspirations. So.
No, very good. I was just commenting to Lauren about that you managed to capture a genre that is so, when you can do that, that's a really good sign of good filmmaking, is that you can it'll be a timeless thing that you can watch in different generations, and it won't have a certain element of just being, well, that's just works for a particular time period. You did capture the Chaplin-esque feel, so I thought that was really excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, over to you, ma'am. I just got to say that first I'd like to ask, what kind of budget did you have for the Horizon Project?
Well, we did it as an internship program. So Rory was an intern on it, and as was the cinematographer for HB. So just to produce it with that many people, and to bring Scott Bellier from Vancouver and the cinematographer Scooter Corkle and the guys that came. We had 6 come from Vancouver to train the interns, because up to that point we really didn't have much filmmaking happening in Grand Prairie. So I raised about $38,000 for just that part of it, and we shot on the Red One and stuff like that. But then all of the post-production, all the CGI afterwards was done in Vancouver, and Scott and Bellier, they did a Kickstarter campaign and raised another $11,500. So it was a fairly higher budget short film, but it was fantastically successful in the training aspect, because then Scott came back for our youth film mentorship project and mentored Nathan on HB as well. And obviously, Sophia was a result of that, too. And I just want to tell a quick little story. I actually was here at the Edmonton Film Festival way back in 2006 as the writer-producer of a little zero-budget short film, and was inspired by this film festival to start the Real Shorts Film Festival up in Grand Prairie. And then Scott Bellier has been, who grew up in Grand Prairie and is a director in Vancouver, has come back every year to do workshops and stuff like that. So these 3 films, obviously, I don't think would have happened without this film festival as well.
Oh, well, a big hand for the film festival, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it inspires. Excellent. Okay, we'll move on down the road. I noticed that, I'll speak thematically about it, that you're finding faith. That seems to have been a theme through all these films that we have just watched, some sort of faith or belief in something that takes us beyond the reality of what we're watching. So what was the inspiration for your imagery?
Well, I'd say that while I was doing this during school, there was a talk in our social class that a percentage of people that you meet make up your personality. So, and I thought that, well, different people impact your life in different ways, and whether they're good or bad, you kind of have to find your path through them. So that was it.
No, it had such beautiful imagery. I had that circled. It was beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
And the question I have for the Sophia folks, how long did it take you to film that? Because I noticed I just had the visual there of the waking up in the snow and the corn, and by the later in the day, did the snow melt? Like, did you have a long?
Yeah, that particular day, that's what happened. It was, by that time she was in the mud, so. Yeah, it was 7 days.
7 days.
7 days, yeah. 7 months from start to finish.
Faith and 7 days. There's something to do, a very common thematic there. The locations that you used, are you all a Grand Prairie kind of group here? Is this like, no?
Yeah, except,
Like Leduc. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to make that sound like it. I'm just saying that there was a contingency of films that are coming from rural areas that are just very profound, that are more than from a metropolitan area, that you guys really have captured something that
yeah, like what Terry was saying from the Horizon Project, it's sort of blossomed from there, and everybody's making films up there now. It's really great. The DOP on Sophia, he made one too that's coming out hopefully in next year, I hope. Yeah, that's going to be really great too. It's called The Device, so really excited about that too.
Was the Horizon Project, was that something that you would like to expand upon? Like, is there's more, like, is that something that was just kind of a jump-off point as hey, get this, look what I can do? Like,
Yeah, Scott, I think, finished the script for that less than 5 days. I mean, he had the first draft from the screenwriter, but then based on the locations, adapted it quite a bit. And I know when I read it, I thought it was fantastic, but I also thought, well, but it's the first act of a feature film. When are you going to shoot the rest of it? But I know he's working on a feature film script now, which is not the Horizon Project, so I'm not sure what will happen with it next. I'm just thrilled with the results that all these fantastic films are coming out of it.
Well, there's such a theme of life and death, but when I bring it back to when you can make something as simple as a pencil seem like a life and death situation too, you've captured something that's really a phenomenon around the collective consciousness of people, of just fear and overcoming it to some extent. And then stuff that you did from the beyond, like when you use the word faith in something, where does that stem from when you begin your project? Is that you have the faith, or are you trying to find the faith?
Well, I think that was at the end of my film, and I was like, I don't know what to call this. And I went through a lot of different lists. Like, I talked with my teacher, and I was like, well, I'm not exactly sure. And then we kind of went through the movie or the film again, and I was like, well, I kind of connected it through, like, her name could have been Faith, like, and then she was also in this situation of finding herself. So I think that's where it kind of came from.
So easily relatable to you, trying to find your way?
Yeah, I think so. I think at a time, grade 12, and you're, like, trying to find which path you want to go to, and that had an impact on me as well.
Oh, very nice.
I think there's also an element that leaves it up to the audience to determine. So there's an openness for interpretation, and encouraged Mona to really respect the audience, and I think she really did.
No, absolutely, I agree. That's all, giving the audience giving them the chance to use their intelligence and their own. You don't have to explain everything out to the audience. Let them make their own belief or faith what they've just seen. Yeah, I absolutely agree on that. Do we have any questions from the audience out there in 3 minutes? Questions? Anyone? Pardon me?
She lived. She woke up. Oh, Sophia? Well, yeah, I guess that's your interpretation, sure. That could have been an alternate ending where her eyes open again, and it's sort of like a repeating cycle, but I guess...
Her eyes open, and she appears on a bus somewhere.
Yeah, well, she did die because she accepted death and decided to move on, so that was my interpretation, but...
Followed the light. I got the imagery. Yeah. That was very cool. Anyone else? One more question for the gang as a whole? Just what did you enjoy about that?
I have one for that guy. What was the most difficult thing about the production?
Is this a story?
Well, I would say it was really the gum the whole time, really. Like, it was, for one, we actually had Play-Doh at first in his hair, but that didn't work, so we had to use real gum in his hair. And of course, there were fragments still left in his hair, so that was unfortunate. But he didn't eat real gum, don't worry. And the other part was keeping track of the pencils, which was because really, if you notice, the pencil gets shorter and shorter through the film, or longer halfway in. So yeah, it's.
Okay, how does that happen if you have a pencil that is an HB pencil? How does it get shorter and longer in a day's shoot? Because you have to keep breaking it for the lead to break in it? Or?
Yeah, well, we actually at first had 3 different HB pencils, but they kept getting into other people's hands, like the kids that were writing the tests. So we didn't really keep track of that as well as we wanted to, but yeah. So
okay.
That was really the difficult.
All right. Well, thank you again. We have to keep moving along here, but how about a big hand for these great filmmakers and.
Okay.